Document. Part 1. The year was 2145 and humanity had reached a turning point. For decades, scientists and explorers had searched the stars for signs of intelligent life. Finally, they found it. Or rather, it found them. The Valans were an alien species far more advanced than humans. Their technology was beyond anything Earth had ever seen, but their understanding of human nature was limited at best. They viewed humans as curious creatures, creative, emotional, and unpredictable, but ultimately fragile compared to their own kind. When the Valans made contact, they didn't come with hostility or grand declarations of peace. Instead, they issued a challenge. It was simple yet impossible. Solve a problem that had baffled their scientists for centuries. If humanity succeeded, the Valans promised to share some of their knowledge and resources. If not, Earth would remain isolated, left to fend for itself in a universe full of unknown dangers. The challenge became global news overnight. People everywhere debated whether humanity could rise to the occasion. Governments scrambled to select representatives who could prove Earth's worth. In the end, two names stood out: Alex Carter and Mia Lopez. Alex was a quiet, unassuming engineer from Chicago. He wasn't famous or flashy, but his mind worked like lightning when faced with complex problems. Mia, on the other hand, was a physicist from Houston, known for her sharp intellect and calm demeanor under pressure. Together, they represented the best of what humanity had to offer. Their journey began aboard a sleek shuttle provided by the Valans. The craft hummed softly as it ascended into orbit, leaving Earth's blue skies behind. Inside, Alex stared out the window, watching the planet shrink until it looked like a marble floating in endless blackness. His hands trembled slightly, not from fear, but from excitement. This was the moment he'd dreamed of since he was a child building model rockets in his garage. Beside him, Mia adjusted her seatbelt and flipped through a digital notebook filled with equations and theories. She glanced at Alex and smiled faintly. "Ready?" she asked. "As ready as I'll ever be," Alex replied, trying to sound confident. Truthfully, he wasn't sure if anyone could live up to the Valans' expectations, but giving up wasn't an option. Not now. Not ever. The shuttle docked with the Valan orbital station after a short flight. As the airlock opened, Alex and Mia stepped onto the alien platform. The interior was vast with smooth metallic walls that glowed faintly with shifting colors. Strange symbols floated in midair, pulsing rhythmically like living organisms. A group of Valans awaited them, their tall, slender forms draped in flowing robes. Their faces were elongated, with large almond-shaped eyes that seemed to pierce right through you. At the center of the group stood Zorath, the leader of the Valan Council. His voice echoed in Alex's mind, bypassing spoken language entirely. "You are here to represent your species," Zorath said. "We have observed your kind for many cycles. You are capable of great feats, but also prone to failure. Prove to us that you deserve our trust." Alex swallowed hard, feeling the weight of those words settle over him. Mia stepped forward, her expression steady. "We're ready to try," she said firmly. Zorath gestured toward a massive chamber at the far end of the room. "Your task awaits. Enter and begin." As Alex and Mia walked toward the chamber, they exchanged nervous glances. Neither knew exactly what lay ahead, but both understood the stakes. Failure meant more than personal disappointment. It meant letting down all of humanity. Inside the chamber, they found themselves surrounded by advanced tools and equipment unlike anything they'd ever seen. Holographic displays hovered in the air, showing intricate designs and schematics. At the heart of the room sat a large console connected to a glowing orb suspended in mid-air. The orb pulsed faintly, emitting a low hum that resonated deep within their chests. A message appeared before them, projected into the air in perfect English. "Create a self-sustaining energy matrix capable of powering a colony indefinitely without depleting natural resources." Below the text, a timer counted down. 72 hours. Alex let out a slow breath. "This is ambitious," he muttered. Mia nodded, her eyes scanning the information. They weren't kidding about making it difficult. For a moment neither spoke. The enormity of the task loomed over them, threatening to crush their confidence. Then Alex straightened his shoulders and turned to Mia. "All right," he said. "Let's break this down. We can do this if we work together." Mia gave him a small smile. "Agreed. Let's start by figuring out what we have to work with." And so, their journey began. With only 3 days to solve a problem that had stumped the Valens for centuries, Alex and Mia dove headfirst into the challenge. Each brought their unique strengths to the table, balancing logic with creativity. Though doubts lingered in the back of their minds, they refused to let fear hold them back. After all, humanity was counting on them, and they weren't about to give up without a fight. Outside the chamber, Zorath watched silently through an observation panel. Beside him, Kyle, one of his aides, tilted his head curiously. "Do you think they stand a chance?" Kale asked. Zorath's lips curled into a faint smile. "Perhaps," he replied. "But even if they fail, their efforts will tell us much about their potential. Humans are fascinating." Little did Zorath know Alex and Mia were just getting started. What the Valon saw as a test of intelligence and capability would soon reveal something far greater: the indomitable spirit of humanity. Document. Part 2. The chamber was eerily quiet except for the soft hum of the glowing orb at its center. Alex and Mia stood side by side, staring at the holographic displays that floated in front of them. The task was clear: create a self-sustaining energy matrix, but the path to achieving it felt like navigating a maze in the dark. Every piece of information they reviewed seemed to lead to more questions than answers. Mia broke the silence first. "Okay, let's focus on what we know," she said, her voice calm but firm. She pointed to one of the diagrams hovering in the air. "This is the basic structure they want us to build. It's supposed to generate power without draining resources. That means no fossil fuels, no solar panels depleting sunlight, nothing finite." Alex nodded, his eyes scanning the details. "Right. So we need something renewable, maybe even regenerative. But how do we make it stable enough to last indefinitely?" Mia tapped her chin thoughtfully. "What about using quantum entanglement? If we can link particles together, we might be able to transfer energy instantly without loss." Alex frowned. "That's a good idea, but quantum systems are fragile. One wrong move, and the whole thing collapses. Plus, I don't see anything here that suggests they've already solved the stability issue." Mia sighed, rubbing her temples. "You're right. We need another layer to this, something that can regulate the energy flow and keep it balanced." For a moment, neither spoke. The weight of the challenge pressed down on them, heavy and unrelenting. Then Alex snapped his fingers. "Wait a second. What if we combine quantum tech with bioengineering, like algae cells? They're efficient at converting light into energy, and they reproduce naturally. Maybe we can use them as a buffer system." Mia raised an eyebrow. "Algae? Seriously?" "Hear me out," Alex said quickly. "We could engineer the cells to store excess energy and release it when needed. And if we pair them with nanobots, the bots could monitor the process and make adjustments in real time." Mia tilted her head, considering the idea. "It's risky," she admitted, "but it might work. The Valens haven't tried combining those two fields before. They're too focused on pure physics. Humans are better at mixing disciplines." A spark of hope flickered between them. For the first time since entering the chamber, they felt like they had a direction. Alex grinned. "All right, partner. Let's get to work." The next few hours flew by in a blur of activity. Alex and Mia divided their tasks, each focusing on their area of expertise. Alex tackled the quantum mechanics, side programming the nanobots to interact with the energy matrix. Mia worked on genetically modifying the algae cells, ensuring they could handle the intense conditions required for the project. Despite their initial excitement, progress was slow and frustrating. The tools provided by the Valons were advanced, but unfamiliar, forcing them to learn on the fly. Every step forward seemed to come with 2 steps back. At one point, Alex accidentally overloaded a circuit, causing a small explosion that sent sparks flying across the room. He yelped and jumped back, narrowly avoiding injury. Mia rushed over, her face pale. "Are you okay?" she asked, checking him for burns. "I'm fine," Alex muttered, brushing himself off. "Just peachy." She gave him a wry smile. "Try not to blow us up before the aliens change their minds about helping Earth." Alex chuckled weakly, though his hands still shook slightly. Noted. As the day wore on, exhaustion began to creep in. Neither had eaten or rested since arriving, and the lack of sleep was starting to show. Their movements grew sluggish and their tempers frayed. When Alex suggested tweaking the nanobot design again, Mia snapped. "We've been over that 100 times," she exclaimed, throwing up her hands. "If you keep changing things every 5 minutes, we'll never finish." Alex bristled. "And if we don't adapt, we'll fail. You're being too rigid, Mia." "Oh, and you're Mr. Perfect, huh?" she shot back. "Your constant improvisation is going to get us killed, or worse, humiliated in front of the entire galaxy." They glared at each other, the tension T. Document. Part 3. The third day began with a sense of urgency that weighed heavily in the air. Alex and Mia had barely slept, their bodies running on adrenaline and sheer determination. The glowing orb at the center of the chamber pulsed steadily, almost taunting them with its silence. Around them, holographic displays flickered with data and schematics, each one a reminder of how much work still lay ahead. Alex rubbed his eyes, trying to shake off the fatigue. "All right," he said, his voice hoarse from hours of talking and thinking. "We've got less than 24 hours left. Let's focus on integrating the nanobots with the algae cells." Mia nodded, her fingers already flying over the control panel. "Agreed. If we can get them working together, we might actually pull this off." They moved quickly, their movements precise despite their exhaustion. Alex programmed the nanobots to monitor the energy flow, while Mia adjusted the algae cells to absorb and store excess energy. It was a delicate balance, and both knew that even the smallest mistake could ruin everything. As they worked, tensions flared again. Alex grew frustrated when the nanobots failed to respond correctly. "Why aren't they syncing?" he muttered, tapping furiously at the console. "I double-checked the code. It should be working." Mia glanced over, her brow furrowed. "Maybe it's not the programming. Have you considered the environment? These bots weren't designed for this kind of setup." Alex groaned, leaning back in his chair. "Great. So now we're dealing with environmental factors too?" "It's always something," Mia replied dryly. She leaned closer to the screen, her mind racing. "What if we recalibrate the frequency? Maybe the bots are out of sync because they're operating on the wrong wavelength." Alex hesitated, then nodded. "Worth a shot. Let's try it." They worked together, adjusting settings and running tests. Slowly, the nanobots began to stabilize, their tiny forms lighting up as they connected with the algae cells. A small cheer escaped Alex's lips. "Yes, we're getting somewhere." But their celebration was short-lived. Moments later, one of the algae cells destabilized, releasing a burst of energy that sent sparks flying across the room. Mia yelped and ducked as a piece of equipment sparked violently. Smoke filled the air, and alarms blared loudly. "What just happened?" Alex shouted, scrambling to shut down the malfunctioning cell. "I don't know," Mia yelled back, coughing as she waved away the smoke. "The energy levels must have spiked too high. We need to stabilize them before the whole system blows." Panic gripped them both as they worked frantically to contain the situation. Alex pulled up the diagnostics, his hands trembling as he typed. "The feedback loop is out of control. If we don't fix it, the entire matrix will collapse." Mia grabbed a nearby tool and started reconfiguring the algae cells manually. "Keep an eye on the readings," she ordered. "I'll try to drain the excess energy." Seconds felt like hours as they fought to regain control. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, the system stabilized. The alarm stopped and the room fell silent except for the sound of their ragged breathing. Alex slumped into his chair, wiping sweat from his forehead. That was way too close. Mia nodded, her hands still shaking slightly. "Yeah, one wrong move and we'd be done for." Despite the near disaster, They couldn't afford to rest. With time slipping away, they returned to their work, more cautious but no less determined. Every test, every adjustment brought them closer to their goal, but also closer to the edge of failure. Outside the chamber, Zorath and Kale continued to observe. The Valan leader's expression remained unreadable, though his gaze lingered on the humans' frantic efforts. "Their resilience is remarkable," he remarked. "Even after setbacks, they persist." Kale tilted his head. "Do you think they'll succeed?" Zorath hesitated, his eyes narrowing slightly. "It's difficult to say. They are capable of great ingenuity, but also prone to mistakes. Time will tell." Back inside the chamber, Alex and Mia pushed themselves harder than ever. Their minds were sharp, but their bodies screamed for rest. Hunger gnawed at their stomachs, and dark circles ringed their eyes. Yet neither complained. They knew there was no turning back now. As the hours ticked by, they hit another roadblock. The energy matrix refused to maintain a steady output, fluctuating wildly between surges and drops. Frustration bubbled over as Alex slammed his fist against the console. "This isn't working. We're missing something. Something big," Mia stared at the data, her mind racing. Then suddenly her eyes widened. "Wait a second," she said slowly. "What if we're approaching this all wrong? What if the problem isn't the components themselves, but how they're interacting?" Alex frowned. "What do you mean?" "Think about it," Mia explained. "The nanobots and algae cells are powerful individually, but maybe they're fighting each other instead of working together. What if we tweak the interface to create a symbiotic relationship?" Alex's face lit up. "You mean like making them depend on each other?" "Exactly," Mia said, nodding eagerly. "If we design the system so the nanobots regulate the algae cells, and the cells feed energy back to the bots, it could create a self-sustaining loop." Without wasting another second, they dove into the task. Mia rewrote the interface protocols, while Alex fine-tuned the nanobot algorithms. Their teamwork flowed seamlessly, each complementing the other's strengths. For the first time in hours, hope began to replace despair. Finally, as the clock ticked down to the last few minutes, they initiated the final test. The energy matrix hummed softly, its glow steady and unwavering. Data streamed across the screens, showing stable readings and consistent output. Mia let out a shaky laugh, tears welling in her eyes. "We did it," she whispered. "We actually did it." Alex grinned, his exhaustion forgotten for a moment. "Yeah, we proved them wrong." As the countdown reached 0, the chamber doors slid open, revealing Zorath and several other Valans. The alien leader stepped forward, his expression inscrutable. "Impressive," he said simply. "You have accomplished what many believed impossible." Alex and Mia exchanged a glance, pride swelling in their chests. They had faced countless obstacles and doubts, but in the end, their determination and humanity's spirit had carried them through. Document Part 4. The Valans filed into the chamber, their movements graceful and deliberate. Alex and Mia stood side by side, their bodies tense but their faces glowing with pride. The energy matrix hummed softly in the background, its steady glow a testament to their hard work. Zorath stepped forward, his tall frame towering over them. His large almond-shaped eyes scanned the room before settling on the humans. "You have succeeded," Zorath said, his voice resonating in their minds rather than through spoken words. "This task has eluded even our brightest minds for centuries, yet you completed it in less than 3 days." Mia swallowed hard, her throat dry from exhaustion. "We didn't do it alone," she replied, her voice steady despite her fatigue. "We had help from each other, and from everything we've learned as a species." Alex nodded, adding, "Humans are good at solving problems when we work together. That's what makes us strong." Zorath tilted his head slightly, studying them with an expression that was impossible to read. "Your kind is fascinating. You lack the precision and focus of my people, yet your creativity and adaptability are unmatched. It is both a strength and a flaw, Kale, one of the other Valens, stepped forward. His voice echoed in their minds as well. What will you do now? Will you return to your planet and share this knowledge? Alex glanced at Mia, then back at the aliens. That depends on you, he said. Will you honor your promise? Will you share your technology with us? Zorath paused, his gaze unwavering. Yes, he said finally. You have earned our trust. But remember, power comes with responsibility. Use this knowledge wisely or it may destroy you. Mia nodded solemnly. We understand. Humanity isn't perfect, but we're learning. We'll use what you give us to build a better future. For ourselves, and maybe someday for others. A flicker of something, perhaps respect, passed over Zorath's face. He gestured to Kale, who handed Alex a small crystalline object. It shimmered faintly, pulsing with an inner light. This is a fragment of our homeworld, Zorath explained. It contains knowledge that will aid your scientists. Treat it carefully. It is a gift, not a weapon. Alex accepted the crystal, with trembling hands, its cool surface sending a strange tingling sensation up his arm. Thank you, he said softly. We won't forget this. Mia bowed her head slightly, a gesture of gratitude. We'll make you proud. With that, the Valens turned and left the chamber, their robes flowing behind them like liquid silver. As the doors closed, Alex and Mia were left alone with the energy matrix and the weight of what they had accomplished. The journey back to Earth felt surreal. The shuttle ride was quiet, the hum of the engines the only sound breaking the silence. Alex sat near the window staring out at the vast expanse of space. Stars twinkled in the distance, each one a reminder of how far they'd come, and how much farther humanity still had to go. Mia sat across from him, her notebook open on her lap. She wasn't writing anything, though. Instead, she gazed at the glowing crystal resting between them. Do you think they'll believe us? She asked suddenly. Alex blinked, turning his attention away from the stars. Believe us about what? About everything, Mia said, her voice tinged with uncertainty. The challenge, the Valens, the crystal. People might think we're making it up. Alex Chi. Document, Part 5. The days following their return to Earth were a whirlwind of activity. Alex and Mia found themselves at the center of global attention, their faces plastered across news outlets and social media platforms. Scientists, politicians, and business leaders clamored for their time, eager to learn more about the Valon crystal and the energy matrix they had created. Despite the chaos, Alex and Mia remained grounded, focusing on what truly mattered, sharing their experience and helping humanity take its next steps forward. They spent most of their time in a high-security research facility outside Washington, D.C., where teams of experts worked around the clock to study the crystal. The object was unlike anything Earth scientists had ever encountered. Its surface shimmered with an iridescent glow, and when touched, it emitted faint pulses of energy that seemed to resonate with human brainwaves. Researchers speculated that the crystal held vast amounts of data, perhaps even blueprints for advanced technologies, but unlocking its secrets proved difficult. Alex sat in a small conference room one afternoon, staring at a live feed of the lab where scientists poked and prodded the crystal. He leaned back in his chair, rubbing his temples. This is frustrating, he muttered. We brought them something amazing, but they're treating it like, I don't know, a puzzle instead of a gift. Mia walked in carrying 2 cups of coffee, handing one to him. It's not their fault, she said, sitting down beside him. They're just being cautious. If this thing holds as much power as we think, we can't afford to rush into anything. Alex sighed, taking a sip of his drink. I get that, but every second we waste figuring this out is another second someone else could misuse it. Mia nodded, her expression thoughtful. You're right. We need to find a balance between caution and action. Maybe we should step in more, guide them instead of just watching. That's a good idea, Alex said, sitting up straighter. Let's go talk to Dr. Patel. She's leading the team, and she seems reasonable enough. Dr. Annika Patel was a brilliant physicist known for her work in quantum mechanics. When Alex and Mia approached her in the lab, she greeted them warmly but looked visibly stressed. Dark circles ringed her eyes, and her white coat was wrinkled from long hours of work. "Alex, Mia," she said, shaking their hands. "What can I do for you?" "We want to help," Alex said bluntly. "This crystal is incredible, but it feels like everyone's stuck spinning their wheels. We've got first-hand experience with the Valens. We might be able to offer some insights." Dr. Patel hesitated, then nodded. "All right, but remember, this isn't just about us. Governments all over the world are involved, and everyone wants a piece of this. It's complicated." Mia stepped forward, her tone calm but firm. "We understand that. But if we don't move quickly, someone might try to exploit this technology before we fully understand it. That could lead to disaster." Dr. Patel rubbed her forehead, clearly torn. Finally, she gestured toward a nearby workstation. "Fine. Let's see what you've got." For the next several hours, Alex and Mia worked closely with Dr. Patel and her team. They shared everything they remembered about the Valens, their behavior, their communication methods, and the subtle hints Zorath had given during their challenge. Slowly, patterns began to emerge. The crystal wasn't just a storage device. It was designed to interact with living beings, adapting its output based on intent and emotion. "This changes things," Dr. Patel said, her voice tinged with excitement. "If the crystal responds to human thought, maybe we can use neural interfaces to access its data." "It's worth a shot," Mia agreed. "But we'll need volunteers willing to test it safely, and we have to make sure no one abuses the connection." Alex raised an eyebrow. "Who do you suggest?" Dr. Patel smiled faintly. "How about you two? You've already proven you're capable of handling extraordinary situations." Alex and Mia exchanged a glance, then nodded. "All right, Alex, Ed, let's do it." The first test took place the following day. Alex and Mia sat in a dimly lit room, electrodes attached to their heads to monitor brain activity. In front of them lay the crystal, resting on a pedestal surrounded by sensors. Dr. Patel stood nearby, guiding them through the process. "Focus on the crystal," she instructed. "Think about connecting with it, not controlling it, but understanding it." Alex closed his eyes, taking a deep breath. At first, nothing happened. Then, slowly, he felt a strange warmth spreading through his mind, as though the crystal was reaching out to him. Images began to form, abstract shapes, swirling colors, and fragments of information too complex to comprehend all at once. Beside him, Mia gasped softly. Her eyes were still closed, but her face reflected awe and wonder. "I see it," she whispered. "It's showing me possibilities, new ways to harness energy, to heal, to explore." Dr. Patel watched the monitors intently, her eyes widening as streams of data flooded the screens. "This is incredible," she murmured. "The crystal is responding directly to your thoughts, amplifying them and translating them into usable knowledge." After several minutes, the session ended. Alex and Mia opened their eyes, both looking dazed but exhilarated. "That was," Alex began, struggling to find the right words. "Incredible," Mia finished for him. "We've only scratched the surface. Imagine what we could achieve with more time." Dr. Patel nodded, her expression serious. "This is just the start. We'll need to run more tests, refine our methods, and ensure the technology is used responsibly. But thanks to you, too, we're closer than ever." As they left the lab, Alex and Mia couldn't help but feel a renewed sense of purpose. They had faced countless challenges already, but now they saw how much farther humanity could go, with the right guidance and determination. That evening, they returned to the beach where they had celebrated their initial success. The ocean stretched endlessly before them, waves crashing against the shore under a starlit sky. Alex picked up a handful of sand, letting it slip through his fingers. "Do you ever stop and think about how far we've come?" he asked quietly. Mia smiled, gazing up at the stars. "All the time, and yet it feels like we're just getting started." Alex chuckled, turning to look at her. Well, whatever comes next, I'm glad we're doing it together. Mia met his gaze, her smile widening. Me too. Together, we can handle anything. And as they stood there side by side, they knew the journey ahead would be filled with challenges, but also opportunities to shape the future in ways neither of them could have imagined. Document, Part 6. The weeks that followed were a blur of activity. Alex and Mia became fixtures at the research facility, working tirelessly alongside Dr. Patel and her team to unlock more secrets from the Velan crystal. Each day brought new discoveries, but also new challenges. The crystal's data was vast and complex, requiring not just scientific expertise but also creativity to interpret. It was like trying to solve a puzzle with pieces that changed shape depending on how you looked at them. One morning, Alex walked into the lab carrying a cup of coffee, his usual tired smile plastered across his face. "Any breakthroughs yet?" he asked, setting the cup down on a nearby table. Dr. Patel glanced up from her monitor, her expression a mix of frustration and excitement. "We've made progress," she admitted, "but it's slow going. The crystal seems to adapt to our methods almost instantly, making it hard to pin anything down." Mia, who was seated at another workstation, leaned back in her chair. "Maybe we're overthinking it," she suggested. "What if we stop trying to control the process and let the crystal guide us instead?" Alex raised an eyebrow. "You mean trust it to show us what we need?" "Exactly," Mia replied. "It responded to our thoughts during the test. Maybe it knows what humanity is ready for, and what we're not." Dr. Patel hesitated, then nodded slowly. "It's worth a try. Let's set up another session, but this time focus less on extracting information and more on listening." Later, that day, Alex and Mia returned to the dimly lit testing room. The crystal sat on its pedestal, glowing faintly as though aware of their presence. Electrodes were attached to their heads once again, and Dr. Patel stood nearby, ready to monitor the session. "Remember," Dr. Patel said, her voice calm but firm, "don't push too hard, just let the crystal lead." Alex closed his eyes, focusing on the warmth radiating from the crystal. At first, nothing seemed different. Then gradually, he felt a shift, a gentle pull, as though the crystal was inviting him deeper. Images began to form in his mind, clearer this time. He saw designs for machines unlike anything on Earth, blueprints for sustainable cities powered entirely by renewable energy, and even glimpses of distant planets teeming with life. Beside him, Mia experienced something similar. Her thoughts were flooded with ideas for medical advancements, treatments for diseases, methods to regenerate damaged tissue, and tools to enhance human longevity. She gasped softly, overwhelmed by the sheer scope of what she was seeing. "It's incredible," she whispered, her voice trembling with awe. "This isn't just technology. It's a roadmap for humanity's future." Alex opened his eyes, his heart racing. "Do you think the Valans meant for us to have all this? Or are we figuring it out on our own?" Mia shook her head, still processing everything. "I don't know, but I do know one thing. We can't keep this to ourselves. If we play our cards right, this could change the world." As news of their progress spread, pressure mounted from governments and corporations eager to claim a piece of the discovery. Document, Part 7. The success of the prototype changed everything. Governments, corporations, and communities around the world began to take notice, not just of the technology itself, but of the message Alex and Mia were spreading. Their presentation in Geneva had sparked a global conversation about how humanity could use innovation responsibly. For once, people weren't just thinking about profits or power. They were talking about collaboration, sustainability, and hope. But with recognition came challenges. Not everyone shared their vision. Some saw the Velan crystal and its secrets as an opportunity to gain advantage, to control markets, dominate rivals, or even weaponize the technology. Lobbyists and executives pushed for patents and exclusive rights, arguing that limiting access would ensure safety and prevent misuse. Others demanded immediate mass production, claiming the world couldn't afford to wait. Alex and Mia found themselves at the center of heated debates, their every move scrutinized by critics and supporters alike. They spent hours in meetings, defending their principles and trying to steer the conversation toward cooperation rather than competition. It was exhausting, but neither of them wavered. One evening, after yet another long day of negotiations, Mia sat on a bench outside the research facility, staring up at the stars. Alex joined her, handing over a cup of tea. "You look like you've got the weight of the world on your shoulders," he said softly. Mia sighed, accepting the drink. "Feels like it sometimes. Everyone wants something different. Some want to lock this away, others want to sell it off. How do we make them see that this isn't about ownership? It's about responsibility?" Alex nodded, sitting beside her. "I know. But maybe we're approaching this wrong. Instead of arguing with them, what if we show them? Actions speak louder than words, right?" Mia tilted her head, intrigued. "What do you mean?" "What if we take the prototype and demonstrate it in action?" Alex suggested. "Not in some fancy conference room, but out in the real world where it can actually make a difference." Mia's eyes widened. "You're talking about deploying it somewhere. Practical." "Exactly," Alex said, his voice growing more animated. "Somewhere struggling, like a remote village without electricity or a disaster zone in desperate need of resources. If we can show the impact firsthand, maybe it'll silence the skeptics and inspire others to follow suit." Mia smiled, feeling a spark of excitement. "That's brilliant, let's do it." After weeks of planning, they chose a small coastal village in Southeast Asia as their first deployment site. The village had been devastated by a recent typhoon, leaving its residents without power, clean water, or reliable communication. Aid organizations had done what they could, but resources were stretched thin and recovery efforts were slow. When Alex and Mia arrived with the prototype in tow, they were greeted by wary but hopeful villagers. A local leader named Aaron welcomed them warmly, though his face showed years of hardship. "We've heard about your work," he said. "If this machine can help us, we are grateful." "It will," Mia assured him, her tone confident yet kind. "Let's get started." They set up the generator near the village center, connecting it to a network of portable solar panels and water purification systems. Within hours, lights flickered on in homes, fans whirred to life, and fresh water flowed from taps for the first time in months. Children laughed as streetlights illuminated the pathways, and families gathered around radios to hear news from the outside world. Arun watched in awe, tears glistening in his eyes. "This is a miracle," he whispered. "Thank you." Alex shook his head. "Don't thank us, this is just the beginning. We're here to show the world what's possible when we work together." Word of the village's transformation spread quickly, drawing reporters and humanitarian groups to the area. Images of smiling children and glowing homes appeared on news outlets worldwide, capturing hearts and igniting imaginations. People began to see the prototype not as a tool for profit, but as a lifeline, a symbol of hope and resilience. Back at the research facility, Dr. Patel called Alex and Mia into her office. Her expression was serious, but there was a glimmer of pride in her eyes. "You've done it," she said. "People are starting to listen. Governments are reconsidering their positions and private companies are backing off their demands for exclusivity." "That's great news," Mia replied, relief washing over her. "But we're not done yet. There's so much more we can do." Dr. Patel nodded. "Agreed. But remember, you're only two people. You can't carry this burden alone." "We're not alone," Alex said firmly. "Not anymore. Look at what happened in that village. When people see the possibilities, they step up. That's how change happens, one person at a time." As momentum grew, Alex and Mia traveled to other communities in need, deploying prototypes and sharing their vision. Each project brought new lessons, new connections, and renewed determination. They worked closely with engineers, scientists, and volunteers to adapt the technology to different environments, from deserts to urban slums to war-torn regions. Everywhere they went, they left behind not just machines, but inspiration. One night after returning from a trip to Africa, Alex and Mia sat on the same beach where they had celebrated their initial victory. The waves crashed gently against the shore, and the sky was dotted with stars. For the first time in months, they felt a rare moment of peace. "You know," Alex said, breaking the silence, "we've come a long way since that shuttle ride." Mia chuckled, leaning back on her elbows. "Yeah, we have. I never thought we'd end up here, changing lives, shaping the future." Alex smiled, gazing out at the horizon. "And we're just getting started. There's still so much to learn, so much to build." Mia nodded, her voice soft but resolute. "Whatever comes next, I'm glad we're doing it together." They sat there for a while, letting the cool breeze wash over them. Behind them, the world buzzed with activity, eager to embrace the possibilities unlocked by their efforts. But, for now, Alex and Mia allowed themselves to rest, to reflect on how far they'd come and dream of where they might go next. Together, they had proven that humanity's greatest strength wasn't its ability to conquer or compete, but to create, connect and care. And as they looked toward the stars, they knew the journey ahead would be filled with challenges, but also boundless opportunities to shape a brighter, better future for all. Document, Part 8. Months turned into a year, and the impact of Alex and Mia's work continued to grow. The prototype they had built from the Valan crystal's knowledge became a cornerstone for global change. Factories powered by clean energy replaced coal plants. Remote villages gained access to electricity and fresh water. Medical facilities in underserved areas used advanced tools to save lives that would have been lost before. Humanity was stepping into a new era, one defined not by scarcity and division, but by innovation and unity. But progress wasn't without its struggles. Powerful corporations still lobbied for control over the technology, arguing that privatization would lead to faster development. Political tensions flared as nations debated who should benefit most from the breakthroughs. Despite these challenges, Alex and Mia remained steadfast in their mission. They traveled the world, speaking at conferences, meeting with leaders, and visiting communities transformed by their work. Their message was simple. This technology belonged to everyone, and its purpose was to uplift, not exploit. One crisp autumn morning, Alex and Mia found themselves back at the research facility where it all began. The place buzzed with activity as scientists worked tirelessly to refine the designs inspired by the Valan crystal. Dr. Patel greeted them warmly, her usual calm demeanor tinged with excitement. "We've made another breakthrough," she announced, leading them to a secure lab. Inside, a team of researchers stood around a large device, a sleek, futuristic machine unlike anything Alex or Mia had seen before. It hummed softly, its surface shimmering faintly like the crystal itself. "What is it?" Mia asked, her voice filled with curiosity. "It's a gateway," Dr. Patel explained. "Based on patterns we decoded from the crystal. It doesn't just generate energy, it creates pathways. Think of it as a bridge between places, even worlds." Alex frowned, his mind racing. "You mean, like teleportation?" "Not exactly," Dr. Patel replied. "More like opening doors to distant locations. We're still testing its limits, but early results are promising." Mia stepped closer, her eyes wide with wonder. "If this works, it could revolutionize travel, exploration, even how we respond to disasters. But it also comes with risks," Alex added cautiously. "What happens if someone uses it for the wrong reasons?" Dr. Patel nodded gravely. "That's why we need your help. You've always understood the importance of responsibility. If anyone can guide us, it's you two." Over the next few weeks, Alex and Mia threw themselves into understanding the gateway. They studied the data, ran simulations, and consulted with experts in ethics and security. The potential was undeniable. Imagine sending aid to disaster zones instantly, or exploring distant planets without years-long journeys. But so were the dangers. What if hostile forces seized control? What if unintended consequences arose from tampering with space and time? Finally, after countless discussions and sleepless nights, they reached a decision. The gateway wouldn't be deployed until strict safeguards were in place. Access would be limited to trusted organizations, and every use would require approval from an inter.